Life moves in circles, and every circle begins with a quiet unfolding that we never notice at first. You walk through days believing everything around you is permanent: the laughter, the shared moments, the comfort of familiar voices. You think the people beside you will remain as they are, frozen in time, untouched by distance or fate, but the universe sees farther than we do. It watches the roads ahead, the turns, the storms, the invisible crossroads, where souls part whether they want to or not, and it plans endings long before we sense the beginning of change. In the earliest moments of your journey you felt whole, surrounded by faces that felt like home. They made you believe in forever, a word so fragile it can shatter with a single decision, yet you held it in your hands hoping it would not slip away. You trusted their promises, believed their warmth, carved their presence into the deepest corners of your heart. You did not know then that the universe was quietly writing a different story, a story where not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay for the final chapter. You grew comfortable in their presence, unaware that comfort is sometimes the first sign of stagnation. There were things you ignored, red flags disguised as affection, silences that spoke louder than words, small moments where you felt unseen yet convinced yourself that love required endurance. You kept giving more even when you received less. You convinced yourself that loyalty meant holding on even when everything inside you whispered let go, but you were not ready to hear it, and the universe never forces lessons too early. There came a time when the energy between you and them began to shift, subtle at first, like a season changing its color, slowly, leaves falling one by one, until one day you wake up and realize the tree is bare. They stopped showing up the way they used to. Their words became shorter, their presence inconsistent, their love a fading echo. You felt the distance growing like a quiet storm, yet you tried to hold it back with your bare hands. You kept asking yourself, what changed, what you did wrong, why the person who once felt like your safe place now made you feel like a burden. The universe watched quietly, not out of cruelty but out of patience. It knew you needed this experience to grow beyond who you were. It knew your heart was too soft, too willing, too forgiving. It knew you had lessons hidden inside, heartbreak lessons you had been avoiding for too long, and so it allowed the breaking to happen slowly, gently, in the only way you would understand: through loss, through letting go, through the unraveling of what you thought you could not live without. You held on to memories like sand slipping through your fingers, replaying old conversations, rewriting them in your mind, hoping to find clues that would explain the distance. But some stories do not end with explanations. Some endings are meant to be felt, not understood, and even though it hurt, you kept loving them silently, wishing they would return to the version of themselves you once knew. But the universe does not bring people back to old chapters once their role is complete, and this was the lesson you were about to learn in the hardest way. Pain entered your life like an unwelcome guest, sitting at the edge of your bed, whispering questions that stole your sleep. You wondered if they missed you, wondered if the memories you carried still lived inside their mind, wondered if the connection you cherished was ever real or simply a temporary illusion, the kind that disappears as soon as its purpose is fulfilled. Nights became heavier than days, and silence became louder than words. You cried quietly, sometimes loudly, sometimes only inside your chest where no one could see. You asked the universe for answers but received none, at least not yet. The universe answers only when the heart is ready to understand, and yours was still clinging to hope, clinging to the idea of what could have been, clinging to a dream you built around a person who no longer existed. The version of them you loved was gone, replaced by someone you barely recognized, yet you tried to breathe life into something already dead, because accepting the end felt like accepting failure, and you believed that letting go was a form of giving up, but it was not. It was an act of courage you had not yet learned. Slowly you began to notice things you once ignored: the imbalance, the emotional exhaustion, the way you always had to prove your worth, the way they made you feel too much or too little, never enough. For long the universe was revealing the truth, piece by piece, lifting the veil from your eyes so you could see not only who they were but who you became while loving them. You realized you had lost parts of yourself trying to hold on to someone who was never meant to be permanent. Your voice, your confidence, your peace, they had slowly slipped away in the name of love. Then came the moment you feared, the final goodbye. Maybe it was spoken, maybe it was silent, maybe it came as a blocked message or a door that never opened again, but it came, and it broke you in ways you did not know you could break. Your heart felt heavy like a stone sinking deep inside your ribs, and you wondered how something invisible could hurt so much, how a person could become a ghost overnight, how memories could turn into wounds. But the universe remained gentle, watching your pain, knowing it was shaping you, not destroying you. Days passed and you walked through them like a shadow, moving but not living, breathing but not healing. Your mind replayed moments like a broken film. Your heart carried weight you could not drop, but beneath all this grief something quiet began to shift, a small awakening, a soft glow, a whisper that maybe, just maybe, this loss was not the end but the beginning of a transformation you did not choose but desperately needed. The universe was guiding you inward, forcing you to meet the parts of yourself you had abandoned, reminding you that growth often begins in the deepest ache. With time you began to see the truth more clearly. The people we love are often mirrors holding reflections of our wounds, our insecurities, our hidden fears. They arrive not to complete us but to reveal us to ourselves. Maybe the person who left showed you how much you depended on validation. Maybe they made you realize how much you feared being alone. Maybe their absence exposed the boundaries you never learned to set. Maybe they taught you how easily you gave your heart away without protecting your peace. Every moment with them was a lesson wrapped in a human form, a lesson the universe knew you needed. You started noticing glimpses of healing, at first barely noticeable, like small cracks of light entering a dark room, but they were there every day. You began to breathe differently, a little deeper, a little calmer. You began to think of them less and of yourself more. You started remembering who you were before they entered your life, a version of you that was whole, independent, strong. Even if you did not feel it yet, your soul was awakening from a long sleep, rising from the weight of loss, learning to walk again without carrying the past on your shoulders. You learned that not everyone who leaves is meant to return, not every love is meant to stay, not every chapter is meant to be reopened. Some connections exist only to guide us to the next version of ourselves, to break us open so the light can enter, to teach us what we truly deserve. And as you grew, you realized that the universe did not remove them out of cruelty, it removed them out of protection, out of love, out of divine timing, because keeping them in your life would have kept you small, kept you silent, kept you from becoming who you were meant to be. Healing is never sudden, it unfolds slowly like dawn spreading across a dark sky. Certain days still hurt, certain memories still sting, certain nights still feel heavy, but the heaviness no longer controls you, the memories no longer drown you. You begin to see beauty in endings, the way they clear space, the way they redirect you, the way they bring you home to yourself. You discover that letting go is not losing, it is trusting, trusting that what is meant for you will find you, trusting that your heart will love again, trusting that the universe is always working in your favor even when it feels like everything is falling apart. You start rebuilding your life piece by piece, rediscovering your passions, reconnecting with your voice, reclaiming your worth. You realize that your value was never tied to who stayed or who left. You learn that love begins with you, that peace begins within you, that wholeness is not achieved through another soul but through your own healing, your own strength, your own growth. The universe removed them so you could meet the version of yourself that was waiting on the other side of heartbreak, the version of you that rises, the version that shines. One day, without warning, you wake up feeling different, lighter, clearer, stronger. You look back at the path you walked, the tears, the confusion, the questions that once consumed you, and you feel something new, gratitude, not for the pain itself but for what it created within you. You realize that nothing was truly lost, everything transformed. The heartbreak became wisdom, the silence became clarity, the emptiness became freedom, the ending became a beginning, a doorway to the life you were always meant to step into. There comes a moment when you understand the divine timing of everything. You realize why the universe removed them, why it closed that door, why it guided you through loneliness, why it pushed you into a season of quiet growth. You see now that keeping them in your life would have held you back, would have dimmed your light, would have kept you living in a smaller version of yourself. The universe saw what you could not, it saw who you were becoming, and it knew they could not walk with you into that future. As you continue forward, you begin to attract people who align with your peace, people who value your heart, people who respect your boundaries, people who understand your silence, people who see you not for who you were but for who you are becoming. And maybe one day you will meet someone new, or maybe you will meet yourself again, the version of you that feels whole, that loves without fear, that trusts without doubt, that walks without carrying the past. You realize then that everything happened exactly as it needed to. You stop looking back, you stop questioning what if, you stop reopening doors the universe has gently locked. You begin to trust the flow of life, the rhythm of destiny, the quiet guidance that comes from within. You accept that some people are temporary chapters meant to shape you, not stay with you forever, and you embrace the truth that what leaves your life creates space for what is truly yours. No force, no chasing, no begging, just alignment, just peace, just destiny unfolding the way it is meant to. This is your rebirth, a return to yourself, a rewriting of your story by the hands of the universe itself. You walk forward carrying not the weight of the past but the wisdom it gifted you. You are softer now but stronger, gentler but wiser, braver than before. Your heart has stretched and healed and grown into something more expansive, more resilient, more open to what is meant for you. The universe removed them for a reason. Their chapter was complete and yours was just beginning. And now as you step into the future, you do so with trust, with clarity, with strength, knowing that everything that left your life was preparing you for everything that is coming, knowing that you are exactly where you are meant to be, knowing that what is truly yours will never require you to fight your own soul to keep it.